Hello all, welcome to the class of Complex Analysis, Probability and Statistical Methods, 18 Mat 41. Today I'll be teaching a topic in Module 2, Conformal Transformations and Complex Integration. And the topic that we are discussing is Conformal Transformations. Myself, Dr. Madhura, Assistant Professor, Department of Mathematics, Sai Vidya Institute of Technology, Bengaluru. First, we will see the definition for conformal transformation. The transformation W is equal to f of z is said to be conformal at a particular point z is equal to z naught if the angle between the curves C1 and C2 at z naught in the z plane is equal to angle between the curves C1 dash and C2 dash at W naught in the W plane in both magnitude and direction. So we consider two planes here, the z plane and the W plane. So in the z plane, suppose I draw two curves C1 and C2 which intersect at a point z naught, and the angle between them formed is equal to the curves C1 dash and C2 dash at W naught in the W plane. Means we draw similar two curves in the W plane denoted by C1 dash and C2 dash. The angle between them is say theta dash at the point W naught in the W plane. So the angle theta in the Z plane is equal to theta dash in the W plane in both magnitude and direction. If this condition is satisfied, we say such a transformation is said to be conformal. Now we are going to discuss conformal transformations. There are three transformations to discuss. So in the discussion of conformal transformation, given the transformation W is equal to f of z, we substitute Cartesian representation for z x plus iy or polar representation r e power I theta to obtain u and v as functions of x comma y or r comma theta. Then we find the image in the W plane corresponding to the given curve in the Z plane. The curves that we are going to consider in the Z plane, for them, we are going to find the image in the W plane. So that is what we do exactly in the discussion of conformal transformations. Now we can see the three discussions one by one. Let us take up the first derivation. I call it as a standard derivation here. So discussion of W is equal to e power z. So W is equal to e power z we need to discuss. So by the conformal transformation, we are applying and we are obtaining a solution for z plane and the W plane mapping, right? So let us see the standard proof for this. Consider W is equal to e power z. W in the W plane, we know that it is given by W is equal to f of z is u plus iv, and z we assume in the Cartesian form x plus iy. So let us split the right hand side to separate the real and imaginary parts. So u plus iv is equal to e power x into e power iy, and this gives us u plus iv is equal to e power x into cos y plus I into sin y. Let us separate the real and imaginary parts by multiplying e power x inside. So e power x cos y plus I into e power x sin y. I into e power x sin y. So separating the real and imaginary parts, we can obtain u and v values. So u is e power x cos y and v is equal to e power x sin y by separating the real and imaginary parts. I call this as equation 1. Now our aim is to find the image in the W plane corresponding to the straight lines parallel to the coordinate axis in the Z plane. That is, x is equal to constant and y is equal to constant are the straight lines parallel to the coordinate axis. So let me just mention the same thing. To find find the image in the W plane, to find the image in the W plane corresponding to the straight lines, parallel to the coordinate axis, when I say both x-axis and the y-axis, in the z plane, So this is same as writing, taking x is equal to constant and y is equal to constant. So we need to find the image in the W plane corresponding to the straight lines, x is equal to constant and y is equal to constant. In the W plane, we need to obtain the image. So we have two straight lines parallel to the coordinate axis. We are finding the corresponding image. Now, let us eliminate x and y from equation 1. Eliminating x and y from equation 1. From equation 1, we are trying to eliminate x and y. So this can be done by squaring and adding the expressions in equation 1. Squaring and adding. So we get u square plus v square is equal to e power x cos y the whole square plus e power x sin y the whole square, which is e power 2x into cos square y plus e power 2x into sin square y. Now e power 2x is common. We have cos square y plus sin square y, which is equal to 1. So we have u square plus v square is equal to e power 2x. So if you observe this equation, let me call this as equation 2. It is eliminated with y. So we have an expression for x from this. So e power 2x is equal to u square plus v square. Now in the same manner, we can divide equation one by the other. We can actually divide one by the other. V by u, we can take from equation 1, v by u. So when we take v by u from equation 1, we will be able to eliminate x term. So let us divide by dividing. That is v divided by u we are performing. This gives us e power x sin y divided by e power x cos y. We observe e power x get cancelled and we have x eliminated. So v by u is equal to tan y for us. V by u is equal to tan y. So equation 2 is an expression where y is eliminated and we have an expression for x. And equation 3 is another expression where x is eliminated and we have expression for y. In terms of tan y, we have the expression. Now we can actually discuss the cases keeping equation 2 and 3 in mind. We can discuss the cases x is equal to constant and y is equal to constant. These are the two cases what we have to consider in the z plane and find its image in the w plane. Right? X is equal to constant, say C1. Similarly, in other case, we can discuss y is equal to constant, say C2. So let us perform case 1. Case 1, let us assume x is equal to constant, say C1, where C1 is a constant. We took x is equal to C1, assuming C1 is a constant. So what happens to equation 2? We have to check. Let us check what is equation 2. Because x is equal to c1 we are taking, we have to substitute in equation 2 only. There is no x term to substitute in equation 3. So when I take x is equal to c1 here, it is u square plus v square is equal to e to the power 2c1. Let us assume e power c1 as r, so that e power 2c1 will be r square. So that we have the equation in the form u square plus v square is equal to r square, which represents a circle in the w plane with center at the origin and radius equal to r. Same thing we are going to discuss and write down now. So equation 2 implies u square plus v square is equal to e to the power 2c1. So this gives us u square plus v square is equal to, say r square, where we have denoted r is equal to e to the power c1. So we have the expression in the form u square plus v square is equal to r square. So this represents a straight line, this represents a circle in the w plane with center at the origin and radius equal to r. So we'll conclude the same thing now. This represents a circle. This represents a circle with center at the origin and radius equal to r in the w plane. In the w plane because u and v are the variables involved here. So we know that w is equal to u plus iv. So u plane and the v plane we have x axis and y axis. No, in the same manner we have u axis and v axis which is involved in the w plane. So similarly, let us consider case 2. In case 2, what are we supposed to take? We are supposed to take y is equal to another constant, say c2. So let us discuss case 2 now. Case 2, let y is equal to c2, where c2 is a constant. Now with this equation 3 implies, because we have to look into y value, y is involved in equation 3, there is no y term in equation 2. So let us take y is equal to c2 in equation 2, in equation 3. So it is tan c2. So v by u is equal to tan c2, which is a constant. c2 is a constant, so tan c2 will also become a constant. And we can assume as m, so that we have v is equal to mu, which represents a straight line passing through the origin in the w plane. We'll discuss the same thing and write down now. So equation 3 implies v by u is equal to tan c2, which is a constant for us. So we have v by u is equal to, say, m. Constant we are denoting by m. So this gives us v is equal to mu. V is equal to mu. So v is equal to mu represents, this represents a straight line passing through the origin in the w plane. So this represents a straight line passing through the origin in the w plane. Now the same thing we have to represent graphically. We'll draw a z plane with the axis x and y, and we'll draw a w plane with the axis u and v, and let us map these two equations. So let us conclude what is mapped onto what. The straight line x is equal to c1. This is a straight line parallel to the y-axis in the z plane, is now mapped onto circle equation u square plus v square is equal to r square in the w plane with center at the origin and radius equal to r. That is one of the mapping. Second one, y is equal to c2 represents a straight line parallel to the x-axis in the z plane, and this straight line is mapped down to another straight line v is equal to mu. This also represents a straight line in the w plane. It is of the form y is equal to mx plus c constant is 0. So it is of the form y is equal to mx, no, similar to that, which is v is equal to mu. So that is why we say it is representing a straight line passing through the origin in the w plane. It is making an angle 45 degree with the x-axis. So let us represent these two mappings, z plane and the w plane, in the figure. Right. So these are z plane and w plane mapping. So or the transformation for us. So as discussed, x is equal to c1 is a straight line parallel to the y-axis in the z plane. This is now transformed to circle equation in the w plane. The circle equation is given by u square plus v square is equal to r square. Similarly, the straight line parallel to the x-axis is mapped onto the straight line parallel to the x-axis, that is y is equal to c2, is mapped onto straight line passing through the origin, making an angle 45 degree with the u-axis in the w plane. That is v is equal to mu is the straight line. Correct? We have already seen it in the previous page. Let me just show you that previous page for you once. So we can see in the previous page what we had discussed, that is x is equal to c1 is a straight line parallel to the y-axis in the z plane is mapped onto circle equation in the w plane. Similarly, y is equal to c2 is another straight line in the z plane parallel to the x-axis is now mapped onto straight line v is equal to mu passing through the origin in the w plane. So the same thing has been drawn and discussed. So we have seen the transformation from z plane to w plane. So we will write down the conclusion now. Conclusion. The conclusion says that the straight line parallel to the y-axis, the straight line parallel to the y-axis, which is a straight line parallel to y-axis, x is equal to c1 in the z plane, maps onto a circle with center at origin and radius equal to r in w plane. This is for one of the curve x is equal to c1. This was the mapping in the w plane. Similarly, the straight line parallel to x-axis, the straight line parallel to the x-axis, which is a straight line parallel to x-axis, y is equal to c2 in the z plane, maps onto a straight line passing through the origin in the w plane. So these are the two conclusions. So if you are just asked to discuss the transformation W is equal to E power Z. So this much until the conclusion should be enough. Of course, drawing the mapping Z plane to W plane, you have to draw. Figures are compulsory to draw. Now, sometimes what happens, you are asked to show that the two curves intersect each other orthogonally, or the two curves are regarded as orthogonal trajectories of each other. In the transformation W is equal to E power Z, show that the two curves are regarded as orthogonal trajectories of each other. If that is asked, you have to draw a tangent here as shown in the figure. So just observe the W plane here. The two curves are intersecting, the circle equation and the straight line passing through the origin. They both are intersecting at the point P here. So at the point P, we draw a tangent. The tangent makes 90° at P. So suppose a tangent is drawn at the point of intersection of these two curves in the W plane, say at the point P, then the angle subtended is equal to 90° in the W plane. So this proves that the two curves are regarded as orthogonal trajectories of each other. So only when you are asked to show that you are supposed to draw a tangent and all that you have to do, only when you are asked to show that the two curves are orthogonal trajectories of each other. If we are just asked to discuss the transformation E power Z, then Z plane and the W plane mapping has to be shown and you have to conclude in this way. Now let us write about the mapping, what we have shown in the tangent drawn, what we have shown in the previous page, and regarding that, how it is forming orthogonal trajectories to each other. So let us conclude about that. Suppose a tangent is drawn. Suppose a tangent is drawn at the point of intersection of these two curves in the W plane. So this is done at the point P. So at P, then the angle subtended is equal to 90°. Then the angle subtended is equal to 90°. Hence, in the W plane, these two curves are regarded as, these two curves means circle and the straight line passing through origin. So these two curves are regarded as orthogonal trajectories of each other. So what we saw in the previous page, the two curves cut at 90°. When we draw a tangent, that can be seen clearly. One is a curve, circle curve. The other one is a straight line. No, that is the reason we draw a tangent at the point P, which forms an angle 90°, which shows that these two curves are orthogonal to each other. So this is how the discussion of the transformation W is equal to E power Z can be done. Now the second curve, discussion of W is equal to Z square. Second one, discussion of W is equal to Z square. So very firstly, in the same like previous problem, we will consider the given curve W is equal to Z square. Substitute W is equal to f of Z as U plus IV. And in the right hand side, let us use Z is equal to X plus IY, the Cartesian representation, and proceed. So we'll see the proof for this. Proof. Consider W is equal to Z square. So we are substituting W as U plus IV and Z is equal to Cartesian representation X plus IY whole square. So this gives us A plus B whole square, no? So A square plus B square plus 2 into A into B. So on simplifying this, I square is minus 1. So this gives us x square minus y square. These are the real terms, plus I into 2xy, imaginary terms. So now let us separate real and imaginary on both sides and write down u and v. So u is equal to x square minus y square is the real term, and v is equal to 2 into x into y is the imaginary term. And let us denote this as equation 1. Together we can denote it as equation 1. Now we will discuss the cases one by one, like previous discussion, that is w is equal to e power z. Here also we can discuss the cases for x is equal to constant and y is equal to constant. We take the curves x is equal to constant, straight line parallel to the y-axis, and another curve y is equal to constant, say C2, which is parallel to the x-axis. So let us see what these two curves are mapped onto. We'll do this one by one. So let us discuss case 1. Case 1 we are taking, let x is equal to C1, where C1 is a constant. C1 is a constant. So now taking x is equal to C1, substituting in equation 1, we can get u is equal to x is C1, so C1 square minus y square, and the other curve will be v is equal to 2C1 into y. X is C1. Now from the second one, we will try to write down what is y. So y is equal to v divided by 2C1, and let us substitute this value of y into the first one. See, our aim is to eliminate x and y and write down an expression or have a curve completely with respect to u and v. I want to know the image in the w plane. And in the w plane, u and v are the coordinate axis. U axis and the v axis, they are respectively the real and the imaginary axis. So we want to know what is y is equal, what is this way of doing will help us to eliminate y first and take down what is y and substitute into the first curve. Will eliminate respectively the y value also. So we will be able to obtain u and v. With respect to u and v, we can obtain a curve. So we can just check it out that. So substituting y is equal to v divided by 2c1. So u will be equal to, therefore u is equal to c1 square minus v square divided by 4c1 square. Let me explain how is this. So we have y is equal to v by 2c1. So y square will be v square divided by 4c1 square. So we are substituting for y square here. So u is c1 square minus v square divided by 4c1 square. That is what we have written here. Let us take this v square by 4c1 square to the other side and try to simplify further. So this gives us v square divided by 4c1 square is equal to c1 square minus u, or we can write down what is v square from this, so which is 4c1 square into c1 square minus u, or taking a negative sign outside in the right hand side, minus 4c1 square into u minus c1 square, taking a minus sign common. So what does this represent in the w plane? Observe, only u and v are involved. Of course, the constant c can be there. So this represents a parabola in the w plane symmetrical about u axis with its vertex at c1 square comma 0 and focus at the origin, right? So this represents a parabola. It is of the form y square is equal to 4ax, like that we can assume, or it is of the form y minus 0 the whole square is equal to 4a into x minus a the whole square, x minus a square, or x minus a simply. So it is a representing a parabola in the w plane, and it is symmetrical about the x axis, real axis, that is u axis. with its vertex at c1 square comma 0 and focus at the origin. So we'll just conclude the same thing. This is a parabola. This is a parabola in the W plane. In the W plane, symmetrical about the real axis. Real axis here means U axis with its vertex at c1 square comma 0 and focus at the origin. Focus at the origin. So this is the conclusion for the first curve, that is x is equal to c1. So when we take x is equal to c1, which represents a straight line parallel to the y-axis in the z plane, now we saw that it is mapped onto parabola in the w plane. Parabola in the w plane. Later we will draw the z plane in the w plane mapping and show the transformation through figures. Now we will discuss the next case. Case 2, taking y is equal to c2. Y is equal to c2. Case 2, let us take y is equal to c2, another constant, where c2 is a constant, and let us substitute this in equation 1. So what was equation 1? Just observe once. U is equal to x square minus y square, v is equal to 2xy. The steps goes on in the same manner as we discussed the case 1. So let us see what are the steps. Substituting in equation 1. So equation 1 implies u is equal to x square minus c2 square and v is equal to 2x into c2. So from this, let us write down what is x, v divided by 2c2. And we will substitute x is equal to v divided by 2c2 into the first curve. So therefore, we can rewrite what is u then. It is v square divided by 4c2 square minus c2 square. So we are not going to take any LCM and all. Like previous problem, we will take v square divided by 4c2 square is equal to u plus c2 square. U plus c2 square. Or what is v square from this? So v square will be equal to 4c2 square multiplied by u plus c2 square. U plus c2 square. So this also represents another parabola. Again, it is of the form y square is equal to 4a into x plus x minus a, where a value is negative. So center, the vertex will be at minus c2 square comma 0. The vertex will be at a different point. That's all. So let us conclude the lines for this. We started with y is equal to c2, a straight line parallel to the x-axis in the z plane, and it is mapped onto a parabola in the w plane with center at vertex at minus c2 square comma 0 and focus at the origin. So same thing we are concluding now. This is also a parabola. This is also a parabola in the w plane. In the w plane, symmetrical about the real axis. The real axis. So here also again the real axis is nothing but u axis, whose vertex is at minus c2 square comma 0 and focus at the origin. Focus at the origin. Right? It was similar to the previous case, no? So this represents a parabola in the w plane, symmetrical again at about the real axis or the u axis, and vertex is at minus c2 square comma 0, because there's a plus sign here. We are comparing with y square is equal to 4a into x minus a. Of that form we are comparing, no? So that is why we have here vertex at c1 square comma 0. There was a minus sign direct, whereas here it was plus sign. That is why vertex is at minus c2 square comma 0 and focus at the origin. Now we can see the mapping from z plane to w plane. Right, this is the transformation from z plane to w plane. We observe that x is equal to c1 is a straight line parallel to the y-axis, which is mapped onto the parabola, that is this parabola. V square is equal to minus 4c1 square into u minus c1 square, whose vertex is at c1 square comma 0 and focus at the origin. Right, it is focusing at the origin. Similarly, the second curve y is equal to c2, a straight line parallel to the x-axis in the z plane, is mapped onto another parabola. It is also mapped onto another parabola in the w plane, which is given by v square is equal to 4c2 square into u plus c2 square, whose vertex is at minus c2 square comma 0. And this is also focused at the origin. So this is how a transformation from z plane to w plane can be shown for the given curve w is equal to z square. Now let us conclude the lines. Conclusion. Let us write on the conclusion now. So what is the conclusion then? The straight lines parallel to the coordinate axis, the straight lines parallel to the coordinate axis, the straight lines parallel to the coordinate axis, both the axes, x-axis and the y-axis, coordinate axis in the z plane, map onto parabolas in the w plane. So in simple, we have concluded both the straight lines. We saw that both the straight lines are mapping onto parabolas in the w plane. So both are straight lines that we have taken in the z plane, and both of them are mapping onto parabolas in the w plane, and that is the conclusion for the given curve w is equal to z square. Now we'll see the third discussion. Discuss the transformation or discussion of w is equal to z plus 1 by z, where z is not equal to 0. So the third and the last curve what we are discussing is about z plus 1 by z. And the alternate form of the question also can arise. Either it can be discuss the curve or discuss the transformation w is equal to z plus 1 by z is one pattern of the question that can arise. The alternate form of the question also arises, which says something like this. So it can be show that the transformation w is equal to z plus 1 by z maps the circle mod z is equal to constant, and the straight line which is given by amplitude z is equal to constant, into confocal conics. So we have to show that the transformation w is equal to z plus 1 by z maps the circle equation mod z is equal to constant Recall in the polar representation, mod z is equal to constant represents the circle equation, and the straight line amplitude z is equal to theta, right? Amplitude z is given by theta. We need to take it as constant, and these two maps onto confocal conics. So that is what we need to discuss, and this is the third and the last transformation what we are discussing in our syllabus. So let us see the proof. So firstly, we consider the given curve W is equal to Z plus 1 by Z. So here we need to take the polar representation of Z. So that is why they have mentioned about amplitude Z also. It's very clear from that, and that is for polar representation we can use it. So left hand side W is taken as U plus IV, and right hand side R e power I theta plus 1 divided by R e power I theta. The polar representation of Z is taken. So this is equal to R into e power I theta plus 1 divided by R into e power minus I theta. Correct? And now we can write it down as R into e power I theta is cos theta plus I sin theta, and retaining 1 by R as it is, e power minus I theta can be written as cos theta minus I sin theta. So what was the purpose of writing e power I theta in terms of cos and sin? Is to separate the real and imaginary parts. Now we will multiply R inside and write on the next step. Left hand side we will keep U plus IV as it is. So left hand side I will retain U plus IV as it is, and the right hand side I can write it down as R into cos theta plus I into R into sin theta plus 1 by R is multiplied inside for the second term. So this gives 1 by R cos theta minus I into 1 by R sin theta. I just multiplied R inside the first bracket and 1 by R inside the second bracket. Now I will group all the real terms together. So R cos theta plus 1 by R cos theta. These are the real terms together. Plus I into R sin theta minus 1 by R sin theta. These are the imaginary terms. We have to group real and imaginary together, then only we'll be able to separate the real and imaginary parts. Now cos theta is common. Taking cos theta common, this will be R plus 1 by R cos theta plus I into R minus 1 by R sin theta. After separating the real terms and the imaginary terms together. So I can now separate real and imaginary and write down what are U and V. So thus we will conclude what are U and V and call it as equation 1. So thus U is equal to R plus 1 by R cos theta, and V is equal to R minus 1 by R sin theta. We'll call this as equation 1. Now we need to discuss the two cases as mentioned in the alternate form of the question. That is, we need to discuss mod z is equal to constant, and recall from the theory we had already talked about mod z is nothing but R. Mod z is nothing but, in the polar representation it is nothing but R. So we have to take mod z is equal to R equal to constant. Say constant A can be taken, or say C1, anything can be taken. Similarly, in other case, we have to discuss straight line. Straight line given by amplitude Z is equal to constant. And recall again from the polar representation, amplitude Z is equal to theta. So we need to take theta is equal to constant. So those are the two cases that we have to discuss. Let's see one by one. So case 1, taking let mod Z is equal to R, and that is equal to A. I have taken the constant as A, where A is a constant. A is a constant. So this is case 1 for us. Now we need to substitute mod Z is equal to R is equal to A in both the curves. In both the curves, we have to substitute R is equal to A and discuss the case. So equation 1 implies u is equal to a plus 1 by a into cos theta, and simultaneously v is equal to a minus 1 by a into sin theta. Now let us square on both sides. Squaring on both sides, u square is equal to a plus 1 by a the whole square into cos square theta, and v square will be equal to a minus 1 by a the whole square into sin square theta. Sin square theta. Now we will take the constant term to the denominator. I mean to say a plus 1 by a the whole square is a constant, no? We'll take it to the denominator. And here also a minus 1 by a the whole square is a constant. We can take it to the denominator. Or directly first we will represent this constant as say capital A and a minus 1 by a constant as say capital B. First we can assume like that, then only we can divide. Anyway, both the things are correct. So let us assume the constant a plus 1 by a is equal to say capital A, and a minus 1 by a is equal to say capital B. Now with these we are trying to substitute in the previous expression. So it becomes u square is equal to small u square is equal to capital A square into cos square theta, and similarly v square is equal to capital B square into sin square theta. Now let me divide by a square and b square. So u square by capital A square is equal to cos square theta, and v square divided by capital B square is equal to sin square theta. The purpose of doing all these is now by adding these two expressions, by adding what can I obtain? U square divided by a square plus b square divided by b square is equal to right hand side becomes cos square theta plus sin square theta, which is equal to 1. Directly I can write on 1 now. Right hand side it is cos square theta plus sin square theta, which is equal to 1. Right? Now what does this curve represent? U square by a square plus v square by b square is equal to 1 represents an ellipse with center at the origin and u and v axis as its axis. U and v becomes the axis of the W plane. So what did we observe? We started with mod z is equal to, I'll just show that in the previous page. So we started with mod z is equal to r equal to a. This represents a circle equation. Mod z is equal to a represents a circle equation, no? Mod z means square root of x square plus y square is equal to a. Or squaring on both sides, x square plus y square is equal to a square, which represents a circle equation in the z plane. And we observed that this is mapped onto an ellipse in the W plane. So we can conclude the same thing now. This represents an ellipse with center at the origin with center at origin 0, 0. I'm sorry. With center at origin and u and v as its axis, because in the u and v variables are seen, so it just represents in the W plane. Okay, then now we can conclude, therefore the circle mod z is equal to r, which is equal to a, in the z plane, is mapped onto an ellipse in the W plane. Mod z is equal to r equal to a represents a circle in the z plane. So how is it representing a circle? Mod z is equal to a means square root of x square plus y square is equal to a. Z is x plus iy, no? So mod z will be square root of x square plus y square is equal to a. So square root of x square plus y square is a means squaring on both sides, x square plus y square is equal to a square, which represents a circle equation in the z plane. So this is now mapped onto an ellipse equation. This represents an ellipse in the W plane. So this was case 1 for us. We started with case 1, mod z is equal to r equal to a. Now case 2, in the same manner we have to discuss. So case 2. Case 2, let us assume amplitude z is equal to theta. This is already known for us. Let us assume this as b, where b is a constant. We need to take it as a constant. I am taking the constant value as say b. Now we will substitute theta is equal to b in equation 1. So equation 1 says u is equal to r plus 1 by r cos theta, v is equal to r minus 1 by r sin theta. We are taking theta is equal to b in equation 1. So equation 1 implies u is equal to r plus 1 by r into cos b, and v is equal to r minus 1 by r into sin b. So we will square again. So u square will be equal to r plus 1 by r the whole square cos square b, and v is equal to r minus, v square, we are squaring on both sides. So r minus 1 by r the whole square into sin square b. Now we will divide throughout by cos square b and sin square b respectively. So this gives us u square divided by cos square b is equal to r plus 1 by r the whole square. And similarly, v square divided by sin square b is equal to r minus 1 by r the whole square. So the purpose of dividing like this is to subtract these two equations. So by subtracting, we can obtain u square divided by cos square b minus v square divided by sin square b is equal to r plus 1 by r the whole square minus r minus 1 by r the whole square. So this gives us, left hand side I will write down as it is, u square divided by cos square b minus v square divided by sin square b, I will write down as it is. Right hand side expand a plus b whole square and a minus b whole square. So this gives us r square plus 1 by r square plus 2 minus r square minus 1 by r square plus 2. How is this? Let me explain. R square, a plus b the whole square. So a square plus b square plus 2 into a into b. A into b gives you r into 1 by r. So r get cancelled. So plus 2 only remains. Similarly, this is a square plus b square minus 2ab. But there's a minus sign outside. Multiply each term by outside minus. So both these becomes minus, and you will have plus 2. So we observe that r square and minus r square get cancelled, and 1 by r square and minus 1 by r square get cancelled, and the sum in the right hand side is equal to 4. Sum in the right hand side is equal to 4. If I divide throughout by 4, I can write this down expression as u square divided by 2 cos b the whole square. Yes, I'll rewrite this expression. So this can be written as u square divided by 2 cos b the whole square minus b square divided by 2 sin b the whole square is equal to 1. Dividing throughout by 4, it is 2 square. 2 square is 4, no? That is why we are able to write down 2 cos b the whole square and 2 sin b the whole square, which gives you 4 cos square b and 4 sin square b when I divide throughout by 4 is equal to 1. So this is one and the same as writing. I'll write down the alternate form of this, writing down in terms of say capital C and capital D. So I can write this down as u square divided by c square minus v square divided by d square is equal to 1. So does this represent a hyperbola? Yes, it represents a hyperbola in the W plane. In the W plane. So let us conclude the same lines. So we are concluding the same lines. It's therefore a straight line. What did we started with? A straight line passing through origin, which was a straight line passing through origin, theta is equal to b. This was a straight line passing through origin in the z plane. In the z plane is mapped onto the hyperbola in the W plane. So this is a transformation from Z plane to W plane. The straight line theta is equal to B. So let me tell you how theta is equal to B represents a straight line in the Z plane. So we have x is equal to r cos theta and y is equal to r sin theta, right? Cartesian to polar representation. So when I divide y by x, I'll get amplitude of z. So y by x is nothing but tan theta, and we have taken theta is equal to b. So that becomes tan b. Tan b means m, say some constant m. So we have it in the form y is equal to mx. So in the same format, we can represent y is equal to mx. So theta is equal to tan inverse y by x represents the amplitude of z. So this is a straight line for us. Y is equal to mx. This is theta equal to b is now reducing to a straight line equation. So that is the reason we can say a straight line passing through the origin in the z plane is mapped onto the hyperbola in the W plane. Now let us see this mapping through the figures. Z plane to W plane, the mapping. Right, this is the mapping from Z plane to W plane. Let me explain this. We have taken the case 1 as circle equation R is equal to A, and we have seen that this maps onto an ellipse in the W plane. So I've drawn the ellipse for you. U square by C square, U square by A square plus V square by B square is equal to 1 represents the ellipse equation. And the second case, we took it as theta is equal to B, which represents a straight line passing through the origin in the Z plane. And we see that this maps onto a hyperbola in the W plane. Hyperbola is given by U square by C square minus V square by D square is equal to 1. So this is how a transformation from Z plane to W plane can be done for Z plus 1 by Z. W is equal to Z plus 1 by Z. And we see that the question says we need to show that these transformations are into confocal conics. So regarding that, both the curves are mapped onto an ellipse equation and a hyperbolic equation, and we know that they both are conics for us. So that is the reason we can conclude that they both maps onto confocal conics. So the conclusion says something like this. The circle with constant radius in the Z plane maps onto an ellipse in the W plane, and the straight line passing through the origin in the Z plane maps onto a hyperbola in the W plane. Since both these conics, ellipse and hyperbola, have the same foci independent of r comma theta, they both have the same foci, which is 2 comma 0 and minus 2 comma 0. So since they have both same foci independent of r comma theta, they are regarded as confocal conics. So here in the diagram we can write down, this is the focus, it has been drawn here. I will just show the foci, minus 2 comma 0 in the negative x-axis, and here the foci is 2 comma 0. We can write down the coordinates there. It's 2 comma 0 and minus 2 comma 0. So since both ellipse and hyperbola have the same foci independent of r comma theta, these can be regarded as confocal conics. We'll just mention the same thing in the next page. Since both these conics it is ellipse and hyperbola, have the same foci, independent of r comma theta, they are called confocal conics. They can be regarded as confocal conics. They are called confocal conics. So that is how a transformation for W is equal to Z plus 1 by Z can be shown. Hope you have understood these transformations, conformal transformations. Thank you for watching.